So earlier today, I had this epiphany that I wanted to quit. I want to go home. I want to sleep in a bed. I want to get a hotel. I want to get a taxi. I don't want to walk anymore. My feet hurt. My feet have blisters that are in danger of getting infected. I'm tired of worrying about my safety at night. I'm tired of worrying about my possessions, that I can't turn my back. I have to hide them in the bushes to do anything or carry them everywhere. And as I realized that, as I felt those things, I realized that that is what every homeless veteran out there feels too. Of course they want to go someplace and have a home. Of course they would prefer to be in a hotel with air conditioning and a shower and a comfortable bed and a locking door. Of course they would prefer to have money for a taxi rather than having to walk everywhere. You know, of course they would prefer to not have to bed down every night in the bushes somewhere, like I'm doing right now, and have to worry about their safety, that somebody's going to come up on them while they're sleeping. I am so sick and tired of sleeping on the ground. I got spiders crawling all over me. This morning I woke up and a fat little tick ran away across my hammock. I'm not sure if he fed on me during the night. Here, I was in a convenience store earlier getting some Gatorade so I wouldn't die of dehydration, and the clerks tell me there's some schizophrenic meth head around here. So that's great, you know. Am I gonna have to blow somebody away and then get into all the legal mess? You don't sleep well for security reasons and comfort. You got bugs crawling all over you. I'm doing the best I can out here, and it's pretty tough.
I was looking for another house for me and my two boys, and I had a head injury, so that kind of set me back some. And so now this is about maybe a year and a half later that I finally have gotten all my paperwork in order and getting ready to hopefully get a place to stay, another house here. It took a long process to get my paperwork in order. So I guess my biggest challenge was just living from day to day and without my boys and stuff. The kids are with some other family right now. So.
How long ago did you see your kids?
Oh, probably not. Maybe 2 weeks. Maybe 2 weeks ago.
Is there anything that you feel folks out there, the American people, could do to help vets who are in situations like this?
I guess funding's one. So there's always a short of funding everywhere, I guess, but funding and if they need help, you know, help them.
I would imagine that it would have to deal with the stresses that we put our vets through. You know, we've been at war, or at a state of war, now going on almost 16 years. So, and then before that was many different conflicts, whether it be Panama, Grenada, any of those kind of places. We've been asked to be in different parts of the world, Bosnia, as peacekeepers. So our military has served in many different aspects, and what they've seen and what they've done and what they've had to deal with, they're vulnerable in many different ways. So I would imagine that just that prolonged stress and you know, lack of, after getting out of the military, a lack of belonging.
To be honest, I'm pissed off. I think it is a failure of, to start with, the military. They're the first on the list. The second is the VA. But that being said, I believe it is a community problem as well. We live in a small town, so if there's a veteran here in town, homeless vet, or even somebody who's got a house and a job and all of that that's having problems, we hear about it. And it is our responsibility to step in and help if asked. I think stress and PTSD has a lot to do with it. I think also that once they step out of the uniform and they step back into the civilian life, I don't think they're properly prepared. The mindset of going from a combat situation, or in the case of the Navy, you're on ship, the skipper is God, to being basically dumped out on your own. That's not to say that a lot of people can't adapt, but there's some people who really have problems adapting to that change in environment. I think with a little bit more preparation, a little bit more training, and I'm not talking slideshows, a little bit more counseling, one-on-one, it would help. But it also involves the vet themselves realizing that, hey, I'm in over my head, I need some help, I need to go talk to somebody, or I need to ask for help. And a lot of that has to deal with pride too. Just not being able to ask for help.
Hey ma'am, I have a general delivery to pick up for Brennan Silver. It's gonna be a warm one. GPS says 7 hours up to the toll gate store. So we're going to try and beat that. Doesn't matter how much your feet hurt, doesn't matter how much that pack strap is killing your shoulders. You just keep going, keep stepping. You do it for the 10,000 who never came home. You do it for the 50,000 who came home maimed and burned. You do it for the 22 who take their lives every day. Step it out. People were amazing out there. People would take you into their house, they would feed you. One day I come down off the mountains out of Walkabout down at Hell's Canyon, and I'm pretty much cooked by the sun. I'm low on water. I'm just trying to get to the Snake River so I can filter something out of it. And this is kind of a gross part of the river. I stagger into this camp and I say, folks, I'm just trying to get to the river. And they're like, you need to sit down. And the next thing I know, they're putting a beer and an ice water in my hand, and they want to hear my whole story. What are you doing out here? For the next 12 hours, I just hung out with these people. They totally took me in, they fed me. A guy in the camp spotted a rattlesnake 10 feet from my hammock where I was planning to sleep that night. So I just want to say to Josiah and Gabe Schmo from Halfways, Oregon, if you guys are out there and listening right now, I just want to tell you a big, big thank you for your hospitality and helping me out there in the wilderness. Willie Jr., if you're out there, thanks a lot, man, for beaming that rattlesnake in the head. I probably would have stepped on it in the middle of the night. There were times that I had to take a helping hand. I had to humble myself, and in some ways my journey became a microcosm for what it's like to be a returning warrior. That realization that I cannot do this on my own. Just as the returning warrior has experienced all these things, he or she can't do it on their own. They need the entire tribe. They need the entire village. It takes the whole village to send their warriors off to battle. It takes the whole village to welcome them back in. To the vets out there who are watching, I just want to lay that challenge down to you. Humble yourself. It doesn't mean you're not a warrior, but it's a reality. You can't do it on your own. You couldn't do it in the military on your own. You had a whole team of other guys or ladies. And if you're trying to fight through the reintegration process and find your way on your own, you're going to fall into trouble.
They drop you out of an airplane and say, we're going on a training mission, and welcome to Vietnam. You're only a kid, you know what I mean? And down here in Boise, Idaho, we had a nice little community called Tent City. The police came in like guerrilla warfare, snipers on buildings. We're homeless. We have no guns. We're not hurting people. We're not bothering anybody. We might have drug and alcohol problems, but if you were on the streets living our life, trying to keep cool in the summertime and stay warm in the wintertime, it's like you're hopeless. There's nothing to do, you know what I mean? But the alcohol medicates your brain, which isn't right, but it slows everything down and makes you forget about the situation you're in. I'm ashamed to be a vet, the way I see vets being treated. There's no reason in God's green earth that a veteran that fights for this country, protects the freedom for this country, is living on the streets, and people don't even care. Oh, go get a job. And the first thing VA wants to do, oh, we'll medicate you. Oh, let's try this nut pill. Let's try this nut pill. Once you get off the nut pill, then you're a real nut. And the city don't care about us. They want us to go away. Like we don't even live, you know what I mean? Like a whole different community. The only thing I pray for every night is all the rich people, middle class people, come live on the streets with us for a day to experience what goes on, and they might have some compassion, you know what I mean? But most of them born with a silver spoon in their mouth. They've never been homeless. Most people out there that's working for a living nowadays is one check from being unemployed and on the streets, just like the people that you judge. No one has a right to judge except for God. You know what I mean? They judge us, look at us, tell us, oh, we can't serve you people beer. You people, what does that mean? I'm an American. I'm a soldier. Yeah, I'm a little pissed off. Well, I didn't mean to use that language, but what I can't understand is Idaho gets $4 million a year for the homeless. Where's it at? Idaho has buildings people don't even live in, big old office buildings. Why can't they put the homeless in there with rules? You're doing drugs, you're doing alcohol, you're stealing, then you're evicted. That's the way life should be. That's what I believe in. Then I have another problem. Idaho brought in Syrians. If you know anything about what's going on in the war now, Syrians do not like us. And then on top of that, they have the audacity to bring in Somalians. There's a movie out I want everybody to watch. It's called Black Hawk Down. Them people don't like us. They can walk around with towels on their heads. We don't bother them. Let us go to their country, we wouldn't have no heads. You know what I mean? And then you got homeless civilians, you have homeless vets. That's what makes me mad. And then you got the refugees. They don't pay for nothing. Their rent's paid. Their utilities are paid. They get medical. So I'm ashamed to be a vet. I want to be a refugee.
Refugees get treated better and taken care of better than vets in this country.
Amen. Amen. Drunk college kids with pistols. I started a homeless camp, a successful one in Nashville, Tennessee. We had benches downtown. The homeless passed out on the bench. One of my partners, Tiptoe, got shot in the head, killed. 2 weeks later, another guy sleeping on the bench got killed. What they did, they got rid of all the benches downtown. I was in connection with all the police commissioner Bones, and he had the audacity at one of his little meetings to say it costs $40,000 to incarcerate a homeless person. $40,000, you could put somebody in a house, put them in a drug rehab, get them on their feet. It's sickening. Americans should be ashamed of what they do to veterans. Dirty ashamed. But without us, if I had my way right now, I'd take all the veterans, make them retire, and let the world do as it is. Let them do what we were doing and see what happens. I'm a little hot. I don't like this country.
You're pretty angry.
Yeah, I'm angry. Oh, don't start that. It wasn't until 1964 they let blacks vote. We go on marches, we get beat by white policemen with sticks. We get dogs sicked on us, fire hose sicked on us, just because we want to vote. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
People are mean and ugly.
Not everybody.